Good morning, students. Once again, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to resume the second chapter of the first flight, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. But before resuming the chapter, let us revise from where what we have studied. After a long British rule of more than 300 years, South Africa became a democratic nation in 1994. Nelson Mandela became the first black president of the country. He was sworn in on 10th May 1994. The inauguration ceremony was held in Pretoria, the administrative capital of South Africa. A large number of dignitaries from all over the world came to South Africa on this occasion. It was the largest ever gathering of international leaders on the South African soil. In his inaugural address, Mandela thanked all the guests and called South Africa's victory as a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. On behalf of his nation, he pledges that they will liberate all their people from poverty, hunger, suffering, and any kind of discrimination. The whole view of South African history flashes across Mandela's mind and he feels overwhelmed. He is reminded of the inhuman treatment that his people had been subjected to. He is reminded of those South African patriots who sacrificed their lives for the cause of freedom. Mandela feels pain to think that all those people are not able to see what change their sacrifice have brought about. Now let us resume the chapter. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. So here Nelson Mandela he talks about the policy of apartheid. The policy of apartheid means a political system where blacks were discriminated against in favor of whites. So this policy of apartheid, due to the policy of apartheid, the African people they bear the injustice, they bear untold misery, oppression, cruelty, humiliation, torture from the whites. And this oppression and brutality has created a deep and lasting wound in the mind of the black people. All of us will spend many years, if not generation, recurring from their profound hurt. And Nelson Mandela believes that the oppression and brutality suffered by the African had created such a deep and lasting wound in the mind of the African people that they would not be able to recover in some years, but it would take many years, even generation, to recover from that humiliation, from the torture which they have suffered from the hands of the white people. So they were deeply hurt physically and mentally because of the policy of apartheid. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect. But Nelson Mandela, he believes that the decades of for 300 years, for 300 long years, the African people they have suffered untold misery, torture, and humiliation from the hands of Africa had another unintended effect. Oppression is unfair treatment. They were not allowed to enter the places which were reserved for the whites. So they have segregate colonies. So such unfair treatment and such cruelty from the hands of white people had another unintended effect on the mind of the black people, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulus, the Chief Luthulus, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fisher, the Robert Sobukwe of our time. So due to such oppression and brutality, the real character, the true character of these extraordinary leaders came out. So this oppression and cruelty brought the real character of some of the leaders, like as I said, Oliver Tambos, Walter Sisulus, the Chief Luthulus, Yusuf Dadus. So they have given the real example before the people of Africa that they could stand against the such cruelty. They can face boldly such cruelty. They have shown the true character by facing them with courage and bravery. So they were the men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity. By facing boldly the cruelty, the harsh treatment from the white people, they have shown the true courage, wisdom, and generosity before the people of Africa that their like many never be known again. So, such extraordinary people would never be born, according to Nelson Mandela. Such type of courage never be known again in the history of Africa. Perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. And Nelson Mandela here he says that the operation and brutality brought the true character, and it is due to the depth of operation. If they were not pushed to the limit of their suffering, then the true character would not come out from them. So he justifies that just like in India, Sahid Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, so they have shown the true character due to the depths of operation from the Britishers. In the same way, in Africa also, the leaders like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Yusuf Dadu, they have shown the true character due to the depths of operation which they have suffered from the hands of white people. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. So Nelson Mandela then he praised the people. According to Nelson Mandela, the African country rich is rich in the minerals and gems that lie underneath its soil, but the greatest wealth, according to Nelson Mandela, the greatest wealth of South African country is not the diamonds, not the gems which lie in the soil, but the greatest wealth of Africa is its people in the form of those leaders, those who have shown the true character, because they are finer and truer than even the purest diamonds. So they shown that real character at the time of freedom. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Nelson Mandela, even he learned the real meaning of courage only by looking at the struggle of the comrades, the companions, the way they have shown the true character, the way they have faced boldly the operation and brutality from the whites. So Nelson Mandela, he learned the real meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. So Nelson Mandela, from his birth, he had seen how men and women showing their character, facing boldly the cruelty, torture, they have shown, they have sacrificed their lives. So he learned the true meaning of courage from them. I have seen men and women stand up to attacks and torture without breaking. So Nelson Mandela, he had seen how men and women they stood up, they faced boldly the torture and humiliation without giving up, without breaking, and showing a strength and resilience. Resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effect. So the great leaders like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and many more, they have shown their true resilience and strength in facing those inhuman treatment from the white people that defies the imagination, that beyond the imagination. One cannot imagine how they suffer from the torture and humiliation. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph for it. Nelson Mandela, he learned the real meaning of courage, and according to him, courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph for it. The true hero is one who faces the fear, who tries to conquer over the fear. So he learned the courage means not the absence but to get the victory over the fear. The brave man is not the one who doesn't feel fear, but he who conquers that fear. So according to Nelson Mandela, the brave man, the hero, is not someone who doesn't feel afraid, but the hero is someone who feel afraid and who tries to conquer to get victory over that fear. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. So Nelson Mandela, even though for the 300 years the black people they suffered the ill treatment, unfair treatment, and brutality, still he never bears any ill will against the white people because he believes that by birth nobody hates another person because of the caste, creed, religion, nationality. People must learn to hate. He believes that people must learn to hate by birth. Nobody hates another person. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. So Nelson Mandela believes that just like people learns to hate in the same way, it is quite natural for them to love another person. So we should teach them to love the people of another race, caste, creed, religion. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humility in one of the guards, perhaps just for the second. So even in the deepest depression time when Nelson Mandela was in prison, even in that depressive moments in prison, when he and his comrade, when he and his companion, when they were pushed to their limits, when they were pushed to the last point to our ability to bear pain. So when they were pushed to their ability to suffer agony, pain, mental torture, and humiliation. At that time, they had seen a glimmer of a light of humility, benevolence. So they would see a faint light of humility, the kindness in one of the guards who was standing outside the prison. Perhaps he saw that humility for a second and that gave him confidence, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. And that a faint light of kindness in the eyes of that guards kept Nelson Mandela going in his freedom struggle. It gave him confidence that whatever he was doing for his people, he should continue. So man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. So when he saw the faint light in the eyes of the guard, the faint light of goodness, kindness, he realized that the goodness is a flame which can never be extinguished. It can be hidden. In life, every man has twin obligation. Then Nelson Mandela talk about that every man has dual obligation, dual commitment. So responsibilities. So every man has a dual responsibility commitment to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And he has also another obligation to his people, his community, his country. In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclination and abilities. So, in a civil and human society where the people are very kind and generous, each man is able to fulfill those obligations, those commitment towards the family and towards the people, towards the nation, according to his own tendencies and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it is different. In a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible, according to Nelson Mandela, in a country like South Africa where he was born, where the blacks were discriminated by whites. For him, it was impossible for a man like him of his birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. So Nelson Mandela, he believed that the man like him who was born in Africa, who was a black color, it was impossible to fulfill both of those commitment, responsibilities towards his people and towards his family. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. So Nelson Mandela, he believes that in South Africa, a man of black color of his race who tried to live as a human being, who wanted to enjoy the equal right, was punished and isolated. He was kept separated from his family. So Nelson Mandela, he was put behind the bar when he tried to oppose the white supremacy. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family. So Nelson Mandela, he had seen that in South Africa, any man who tried to fulfill his duty towards his people, to his nation, he was inevitably, honorably, he was separated forcefully from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart. So, any man who tried to fulfill his duty towards his country, who tried to oppose the white supremacy, who tried to oppose the apartheid, he was separated forcefully from his family, from his home, and he had to live a life apart in prison, a twilight existence, unreal existence of secrecy and rebellion. He had to live his whole life in prison and rebellion. Secrecy means secretly, in prison, in jail. I didn't in the beginning choose to place my people above my family. Even Nelson Mandela himself, in the beginning of his freedom struggle, he didn't choose to place his people, his country above his family. So he even in the beginning of struggle, he never selected his country before his family. But in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, a father, and husband. But when he tried to serve his people, to serve his country by opposing the policy of apartheid, at that time he was punished and he was put into prison. And at that time, he found that he was prevented from fulfilling his commitment as a son, as a brother, as a father, and as a husband, as he remained in jail for so many years. I was born with the hunger to be free. I was not born. So Nelson Mandela, from birth, he was not by birth. He didn't have a hunger to be free. He didn't know the real meaning of freedom. I was born free in a way that I could know. So Nelson Mandela, from birth, he didn't know the real meaning. He had a limited meaning of freedom. According to him, freedom means to free in every way that he could know. Free to run in the fields near his mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through his village, free to roast maize under the stars and ride the broad back of slow moving bulls. So as long as I obeyed my father and abided by the custom of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. So Nelson Mandela, he found that as long as he obeyed his father and as long as he accepted the custom of his tribe, acted according to his custom of his tribe, he was not troubled by the laws of man or God. So he had a limited meaning of freedom in the earlier days of his life. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion. But Nelson Mandela, he realized that the freedom has the freedom which he believed was an illusion when he began to learn that his boyhood freedom was an illusion. It was not real freedom. When I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from him. So it was in his boyhood that he realized that the meaning of freedom, whatever meaning he thought was an illusion, it was not real. And he discovered that as a young man, he realized that his freedom had already been taken from him by the white people. That I began to hunger for it. So that he began to hunger, crave for it, desire for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for himself. So initially, as a student, he wanted freedom only for himself. So for Nelson Mandela, freedom has a limited meaning. Only it was limited to himself. He never thought about the people, the black people, the transitory freedom of being able to study out at night. So he had a limited meaning of freedom, transitory meaning of freedom. Only which was limited to himself to stay out at night, read what he pleased, to go wherever he chose. Later, even as a young man in Johannesburg, Nelson Mandela, he yearned, he desired, I yearned means he desired for the basic and honorable freedom. Even as a young man, when he was in Johannesburg, he craved for the basic and honorable freedom of achieving his potential, achieving his abilities, capacity of earning my keep. So, even when he was a young man in Johannesburg, he had a limited meaning of freedom. He just wanted to get freedom of achieving his potential, of earning his basic needs, of marrying and having a family. So he just desired to have freedom to get married with a girl of his choice, have a family, have children, the freedom not to be obstructed in lawful life. He believed that he should have freedom which should not be obstructed in a lawful life. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. But then Nelson Mandela, he realized slowly he saw that not only he was free, but even his brothers and sisters were not free. Actually, the limited meaning of freedom, it was limited to himself when he found that not only he was free, but even his brothers and sisters were also not free as they were separated on the basis of race or color. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was a curtail, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. Nelson Mandela, he had seen with his own eyes that it was not just his freedom that was reduced, curtailed means reduced, which was limited as they had to live in a segregated colonies. They were not allowed to enter the places which were reserved for the white people. Even he found, but the freedom of everyone, the black people who looked like him, of his color, same color. That is when I joined the African National Congress. So at that time, when he found that the freedom of the black people were curtailed, were reduced, they were not free, he decided to join the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. So at that time, Nelson Mandela's desire, hunger for his own freedom became the greater hunger. He realized that freedom is not limited to himself. He could not say himself free until the country, the Africa, until the people, his people, the black people were free. So the greater hunger, the great desire for the freedom of his people, the black people, it was this desire, it was the desire to free himself along with the black people for the freedom of his people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated his life. So it was this desire, it was the desire of Nelson Mandela for the freedom of his people, the black people, to live their lives with dignity, values, honor, respect, and that animated, that made his life more lively, that brought more energy to live his life, that transformed a brightened young man into a bold one. So Nelson Mandela's desire for the freedom of his people to live their life with dignity, respect, and animated his life. So that changed Nelson Mandela completely. He was only a frightened young man, but he turned into a bold one when he decided to fight for his country, for his people. That drew a law-abiding attorney, that drew a law-abiding attorney means lawyer to become a criminal. Even he became a outlaws, lawbreaker, and he opposed the racial discrimination. And by opposing, he became a or criminal even in the eyes of white people. They turn a family loving husband into a man without a home. Even by facing policy of apartheid, he had to leave his family, he had to leave his wife, and he had to leave his home. He spent remaining life, remaining years of life, precious years of life in jail. That forced a life loving man to live like a monk. So he was forced to live life like a monk in the prison. I am no more virtuous or self sacrificing than the next man. Nelson Mandela, he believed that he was no more virtuous, he was equally virtuous or self sacrificing than the people, those who were next to him in the prison. But I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed. Nelson Mandela, he found that even he could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedom which he was allowed when he knew that his people were not free. So when he realized that he was not allowed to enjoy the limited freedom, when he found that even his people were not free, how could he call himself free when his people were not free? Freedom is indivisible. According to him, when he found that he was free, but when his people were not free, he realized that freedom is indivisible. Freedom cannot be divided among the people. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. He experienced the chains of slavery. He believed that the chains on any one of his people, the chains of slavery on any one of his people were the chains on himself, on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. He felt the chains of slavery on him when he found the chains of slavery in the people of Africa, the black people. I knew that the oppressor must be, I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely and as the oppressed. So Nelson Mandela, he believed that Mandela doesn't find much difference between the oppressor and the oppressed. He calls both of them prisoner because Nelson Mandela, he knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. Both are same because one is imprisoned behind the bars of iron, the oppressed one, the person who is suffering from the inhuman treatment, who oppose the policy of apartheid. So he is imprisoned behind the bars of iron, and the other, the oppressor, is imprisoned behind the bars of hatred. So both must be liberated from the, one is from the prison and one is from the hatred. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. The person who imposes a policy of apartheid by taking away the another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Prejudice means strong dislike without any good reason. So a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred, and he is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. He is chained in narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. So Nelson Mandela believes that he is not truly free if he is taking away someone else's freedom. Just as surely I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. So he is also not free when his freedom is taken from him. So he believes that he imprisoned himself behind the bars of narrow-mindedness. The oppressor not only robs the humanity of his victim, but also loses his humanity. Thus, Mandela feels that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as oppressed. So the oppressed and the oppressor alike similarly are robbed of their humanity. So in this way, I have concluded the chapter. I hope you have understood the chapter. Thank you.